Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Cocktail Classified. We are here in DC with my friend Deke. Welcome, Deke.
Dude, great to be here, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. So I know your background, but who are you for people who might not know you?
Sure, man.
Yeah.
My name is Deke Dunne. I'm from Wyoming originally, moved to DC 17 years ago, and I, for the last 8 years, have been running Allegory at the Eaton Hotel in Washington, DC.
Yeah. One of my favorite hotels here in DC.
So cool.
Yeah. How long have you been? You've been here all 8 years?
All 8 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So we started on the project in late 2017, and then we opened up mid 2018.
That's awesome. That's this great hotel. We're here in the recording studio doing this. So we're not in the actual bar because they're setting up today.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, awesome. So tell us a little bit about your background. Where'd you come from? I know you said you got into bartending. What did you do before bartending?
Sure, man. Yeah, so I grew up in Wyoming on a small little farm out in the middle of nowhere, a little town of 82 people, and then went to school in Laramie at the University of Wyoming, and that's where I got into politics.
Okay.
I was a bit of I would say black sheep in my family full of very smart, very highly successful people.
Okay.
I was not motivated by success when I was younger, and I kind of tripped and fell into politics because I was just really good at it.
Okay.
I'm gregarious and I like talking to people, so
it
turns out that translates really well into a profession in politics.
Yeah.
And so I spent 8 years in DC on and off the Hill, working mostly in kind of non-political realms. So working on public land issues like policy advising members of Congress.
Okay.
So I'd focus on anything like the BLM, mostly like the Department of Interior umbrella. So like BLM, Forest Service, things like that, anything that affects public lands. And I did that for 8 years. My last political job was working against Liz Cheney when she ran for Congress in Wyoming, when she was carpetbagging.
Okay.
And I ran the campaign for her biggest opponent.
Okay.
And we got big leagued. We got crushed.
Okay.
And that was also coinciding with the rise of Donald Trump. And that was like when the whole illusion was shattering for me. And I could no longer find myself in that field, in that environment. And so previously I'd worked in like dive bars, worked in college bars through college, mostly sports bars, one club.
Yeah.
And then when I moved to DC, I found myself really kind of not wanting to be around the people I worked with on the Hill.
Okay.
We didn't get along.
Yeah.
They didn't have the same taste in music, food, drink, culture, whatever.
Yeah.
So on the weekends, I started working at Wonderland Ballroom, which is one of the great neighborhood dive bars in the city up in Columbia Heights.
Okay.
And I did that for 3 years while I was also working on the Hill. So I was working 7 days a week for almost 3 years. And then when I quit, a friend of mine who was industry hit me up and asked me if I wanted to be the security at the Game of Thrones pop-up bar, Derek Brown's pop-up bar.
Okay.
This is like late spring, summer 2017.
Okay.
And I mean, I just quit a really high profile, really stressful political campaign against the Cheneys.
Yeah.
And so I was like, why not? Screw it. And so I started working security, fell in tight with everybody. It was so cool because, Derek Brown, he ran owned Columbia Room, and the cocktails they did at the pop-up bar were actually pretty high level.
Okay.
And listening to all these bartenders talk about things I had no context for, zero understanding for. They were throwing out words like Brandy de Jerez, Fino Sherry, creme de cacao. Like I didn't know what any of that meant.
Yeah.
It was like a second language, a secret language, and everyone was really into it there.
Okay.
Basically all the top bartenders around the city worked at these pop-up bars because they were so busy.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of fell in love with it immediately and fell in with that group. I hosted and did some bar assistant stuff at Columbia Room. I started cocktail bartending at the Gibson, RIP, one of the OG speakeasies in DC.
Okay.
And then I came over with Derek's group, Drink Company, to open up the Allegory little more than like a year after I started bartending full time. And that summer, they were getting ready to open up all 4 venues in the hotel, and Derek's group pulled out of the entire concept like 2 months before the hotel opened. So it was me and my buddy Polly and Alexander Bookless, basically frantically running to get all these concepts open without the support of Derek's company. Okay. And we ran, we started running Allegory, and it was like, back then, it was a pre-pandemic, Allegory was a good bar. I wouldn't say that it was a like world-class bar, but it was a good bar. We made good cocktails. We had good service. Yeah. And then the pandemic hit, and basically everyone on the team had to leave for family reasons. My buddy Polly had a kid. He had to move back home. Yeah. He's crushing it down there, which is awesome. But then, Alexander Bookless left to go open up a pizza shop with her husband. And basically coming out of the pandemic, it was just me. And like I hired a brand new team. And the pandemic had given me time to really think about Allegory as a concept and what we could be.
Yeah.
And hiring this new team and having the support from the hotel allowed us to really kind of ramp into like overdrive.
Okay.
And from the pandemic until now, it feels like Allegory is like a new bar.
Mm-hmm.
It almost feels like our opening was 2021 and not 2018. So, and then, the last like 3-4 years have just been a whirlwind.
But you guys have been on back and forth, lots of lists and awards, and
it's been a terror. Yeah, it's been great. I mean, we're super lucky, fortunate.
Yeah, that's great. So going back a little bit, so you talked about how you were hearing about all these different sherries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How did you like start learning? Like, what was your process into learning like bartending?
Sure, man.
Yeah.
Well, so when I get into something, I become obsessive. I have an obsessive personality. That's why I can't play video games anymore, because I will ruin my life. It's just one of those things where I was hanging out with all these people who were super smart, educated, they read books, they were constantly trading ideas, but then they were also like super fun, smart, empathetic, like just great people to be around. They were interesting, had good taste in music and movies, and and so it was just this infectious environment. So I immediately just bought like 5 books.
Okay.
I pulled the old Google situation, best books for a bartender to start making cocktails, and like I bought Death & Co's book, bought Dead Rabbit's book, bought like, the classics.
Those classics.
And just started reading as much as I could. And then also, I'm really good at picking up information from observing. That's kind of one of the things I'm very gifted at, is like I can just observe and absorb, and I can pick up information very quickly.
Yeah.
And so spending time just around people and listening to them, and then also spending time in Columbia Room, watching them do their thing, was just like a masterclass on cocktail bartending. And I went from like 0 to 100 so quickly in that environment. I was very fortunate to start out with all those smart people surrounding me. I feel like I skipped a lot of steps.
That's good. That's awesome. So sometimes it's best to just be thrown in there, and then you have a good team to support you.
Yeah.
And it'll help lift you up.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Probably read like 30 or 40 cocktail books that first year.
Okay.
Just absorbing information as much as possible.
What was your favorite cocktail book?
Oh, Abalos Rum.
Okay.
Such a fun read. Like there's a lot of books that I still reference. Obviously, like I use the Flavor Bible. I look at Liquid Intelligence, and there's some things that are like standards that I like go back to. But like I think out of all the books I read, like Abalos Rum was just such a fun read. I love history, and it was so well written that it was a page turner.
Okay.
Most cocktail books are not page turners.
Yeah, they're long and encyclopedic.
Yeah. So I mean, I read that one I think in like 3 days.
Okay.
Just like burned right through it because it was so much fun. Yeah.
But I'm definitely gonna have to look into that one. I have not read that one.
Oh, dude, you'll love it.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was my introduction to rum.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was very much about like history, which is fascinating to me.
Yeah.
So
Allegory. So then you came into Allegory. You said that things happen at Allegory. Do you is it a hospitality group now that you own, or how does Allegory operate?
I'm a part of a management company.
Okay.
Yeah, so the hotel owns Allegory. It's the hotel's concept.
Yeah.
But I've always been a part of the management group that runs the F&B.
Okay.
So pre-pandemic, we were a different management group. And then post-pandemic, we brought on a new management group, and I'm the beverage and creative director for that management group.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the concept of Allegory.
Sure.
So how did the Allegory come to be? Like I know you said open pre-pandemic, pandemic happened, then you kind of had to restructure or rebirth of the concept.
Yeah, man.
What was that process?
So shout out to the hotel. They had an amazing vision for this entire space. If you've ever been to the Eaton Hotel in DC, there is art everywhere. It's such a thoughtful place. It was literally built by artists, which is so rare for a corporate space.
Yeah.
Mostly there's just, even the cool, trendy hotels are pretty pop art heavy, not really thought provoking or interesting. But the hotel, they have a really amazing policy on artists, and they brought in, they knew with all the F&B spaces, they needed centerpieces for all the bars. And so for Allegory, they knew they wanted this big art piece, the centerpiece that wrapped both sides of the bar. And Sheldon Scott, the creative director, and then Derek Brown, and then the owner, Kat Lowe, were all kind of pretty key in kind of working on early days of Allegory. And then the artist did the heavy lifting on the concept. So they reached out to Eric Thor Sandberg, who's a local DC muralist. And he was the one who came up with the idea of Alice in Wonderland, but through the eyes of Ruby Bridges. Okay. Apparently, he'd been kicking that idea around for decades.
Yeah.
He just loved the parallels between their two stories. And he is really well known for magic surrealism, magic realism. So it was this really fun idea to create a known tale of Alice in Wonderland, but create this kind of like scary, more ghoulish, interpretation, but then also have the allegory of Ruby Bridges representing Alice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a great menu. You're on a new one now, though, right?
Yeah, we're on
That was the original menu.
That was the original, yeah.
How long was that menu in circulation?
Oh, that was in circulation for 2.5 years, which is longer than we would have liked, but we won the award for 50 Best Bars Best Menu back in 2023 for it. And nobody had really heard of Allegory. If you're in the DMV, you knew who we were. Yeah. But like most people outside of the DMV had no idea who we were until we hit 50 Best and then won that award. And then that's when like things really ramped up. So we kept that menu probably a year longer than we probably wanted to, just because so many new people were coming to check out the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And then the new one's really cool. It's what's the title on this one? I know you just
this one's called Banned DC.
Banned DC.
Yeah.
Awesome. So how did this menu, of course we have the environment we're in right now, but is that kind of what drove the concept of this menu?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, up until we launched Banned DC, our entire concept had been about Ruby and Alice in Wonderland. And we really tread that territory heavily. We really just really dug into it. Our last menu, Down the Rabbit Hole, like really kind of reimagined that story. And we knew we wanted to keep Ruby as like our hero, our guiding light, our like moral compass.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to think about how we can incorporate Ruby in a fictitious way into a new story, into a new theme, something maybe more relevant and something more topical. And in 2023, when we started concepting the new menu, there's this culture war wave happening. School districts around the country are banning Ruby's books, banning her Disney movie.
Yeah.
Like it's truly bizarre stuff,
Yeah.
Really just infuriating because if you talk to most people, they think of Ruby very highly, even staunch conservatives, because we all learned about her in high school or in middle school, she's and so we knew that we wanted to kind of talk and touch on that. And so we came up with the idea of doing DC 100 years in the future, but all the books were banned. And the book banning started with hers. That's like Ruby was the impetus for, her books and her movies were the impetus for this dystopian DC that we created.
Yeah.
And so we came up with that idea and we thought it was really fun. We thought it was really creative. And then we started reaching out to a bunch of different artists. And we have a process where we send out a bunch of bids to multiple artists where we pay them for their ideas and we get like 5 or 6 ideas back.
Yeah.
And then we pick an artist and then we move forward.
Lock it in and go.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we went through about 5 different artists, had some really cool ideas, but then when Katie came along with her idea, we were just floored. It was so obvious who we were going to pick. So we reached out to her because she does photorealistic surrealism.
Okay.
So really beautiful art.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it would kind of look like AI. And so we were thinking, maybe we do maybe a little commentary on AI as well in the menu. But then it was her idea to be like, hey, I love miniature set design. It's a children's book. What if we just build these sets out of children's toys and I photograph it?
Yeah.
So, and that thought hadn't even crossed my mind. It wasn't even like a nugget in the back of my brain. I was like, this is such an exciting idea.
Yeah.
So we brought her on and it took her 7 months to create the art. Like the sets were elaborate. 15,000 children's toys, 15,000 pieces of children's toys, 1,000 little functional tiny little books.
Okay.
And so she built these elaborate sets like the DC, the chapter 7, where you see this huge DC scape. That took her 1 month to create, which is just astonishing levels of work. And and then we got the art back and then we went into the design process with Diane Holden, who like brought a whole nother level to the meaning and purpose behind the menu, which was so cool. And then we got it published by a really amazing local publisher named Spot Studios, and they knocked it out of the park. Yeah.
So how long was it from start to finish?
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
So you started the project and then you.
Once again, it shouldn't take this long.
Yeah.
There are like, there are amazing perks of being in a hotel. And then sometimes there are, drawbacks as well. We weren't sure where the funding for this menu was going to come from. Like Down the Rabbit Hole cost us all in, including art, $5,000 to make, which is fairly reasonable, I think, for most bars. This menu was very, very ambitious. And this one, once all was said and done, publishing, printing, everything, ended up costing us about $50,000. So, and the art was a big bulk of that as well.
Yeah.
We're paying somebody 7 months to create this amazing art piece. So Yeah. So it just took a lot longer.
Took a lot longer.
Yeah.
So you don't, if someone wants to create a menu like this, they need to be prepared to potentially spend a good amount.
Well, it depends on how,
right?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on how far you're swinging for the fences.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's a lot of amazing people out there, like Trick Dog. They flip their menu every 6 months.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, and I think they're just incredibly industrious and very clever people, and they're able to pull that off.
Yeah.
We very much like take our time, and we go through a lot of different processes to really settle on our concept. Really takes us a while to really finalize our concept and then to go through the production and everything.
Yeah.
But I think it probably took us a lot longer than it should have to release it.
For sure.
And I think financing was a big part of it too. We had to raise a lot of money. So brand money.
Yes.
And we were talking big numbers. So that took a while as well.
Yeah.
So.
But then the menu runs for a year though. So the ROI is there for.
Oh, the ROI is amazing. Yeah. The ROI is incredible. Like it's been a huge boost for us.
Yeah.
Like both of our menu launches have been like big revenue drivers.
Yeah.
We turn it into like an event and people want to come, and we always see a big bump in sales. So I always tell people, if you want to do like a high concept menu and you promote it properly, it's a really great revenue. It drives revenue.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that. What advice would you give someone to promote something like this?
Man.
Like if they want to like go on, okay, we're going to open a bar. We're going to do this cool colors-based menu. What advice would you give them to start the creative process? How much they need to spend, how to get brands involved,
sure,
and then how to activate this to be successful?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to get brands involved, you just want to be honest with your ambition with the brand. Like if you go to, like, let's say you go to Perrier, and let's say you're not big at Perrier account, you gotta let them know, number one, this is our ambition. This is what we're shooting for. We want to blow this up. We want to have great promotion around this. Maybe we have aspirations for the list or something, which that's like a big trigger for them, a positive trigger. And then you also have to have a great relationship with them to where you move their product, which is so important. Yeah. Like we sign like multi-year long deals with brands. So when they give us a lot of money, they get great ROI, not just the marketing from being in our spaces, but then we move their product and we move a decent amount of their product as well.
Yeah.
And then I said, depending on ambitions, social media, we were talking about before this.
Yeah.
Videography, promoting on, all the channels, TikTok, Instagram. But then also if you're trying to, let's say, maybe get the attention of Tails and 50 Best, you have to submit your menus. A lot of people don't know that it's self-submission.
Yeah. So
you got to go into you got to keep an eye on the time frame on submitting your menu.
Yes.
And then, for Band in DC, we launched in DC and then we did a second launch in New York.
Okay.
So, it's expensive to drive a bunch of people from New York down to DC. So what we did is, we brought everyone in the DMV media market in for one event. And then we rented out a space in New York and invite all the media people in New York for a second media market event so that we didn't have to, foot a $20,000, $30,000 bill, driving everyone from New York down to DC.
Yeah.
And that was awesome because it gives you a whole different market of eyes, and, the New York market's so important.
Yeah.
So that was big for us. And then also another really important thing is like making sure that you understand what your menu is, making sure you understand what your story is. Yeah. We did, I like to think that we did a really good job, like tying everything in through our website, through our Instagram, through our art, our photographs that we had prepared. And then also our press release when we were getting ready to go, we got a very clean, very concise press release. Yeah. So people could easily digest our concept. That was like really important. So everything had to be on brand. Yeah. And I think that really helped us a lot. We got some really cool articles.
Perfect. And did you have a PR company or a marketing person, or was this all?
Yeah, we had PR once coming out of the pandemic, and then we brought in on another PR company after that, just to do the menu launch. Yeah. And they crushed it for us. This is Rachel Harrison Communications in New York.
Yeah, Rachel, they're great.
Yeah, she was great. Yeah. They did a really phenomenal job, really getting the right people in the room, making sure that the right people saw the menu. Yes. So that was awesome. And I think it was absolutely worth it. It was a 3-month run. Yeah. Like I said, normally we don't have PR, and it really made a huge difference. Yeah. But you gotta get the right PR company. Just having somebody who says they're PR doesn't mean that the money is going to be spent. Yeah.
Invest wisely and make sure you do your research with PR companies.
Yes, absolutely. Right. Look at their client list. Yeah. Get recommendations, get testimonials. Yeah.
How did you, so I know you travel a lot. You're like almost the face of Allegory. What steps have you taken Like, what advice would you give to someone to kind of who's trying to get in, branch in, and develop following on Instagram or putting their exposure out for their personal brand?
Yeah, I mean, it was, I mentioned earlier, before the 50 best list, nobody really outside DC knew who we were. Yeah. There were a couple spots in New York that we were friends with, but our brand as a bar hadn't reached very far. And coming out of the pandemic, I just knew that Allegory was special. And I knew that we needed to get like a national and global eye on the bar, because if we did, then I think, it was going to create this amazing platform, not only for me, but for my bartenders to really, build a beautiful career. And like the first thing I did was just focus on networking. So on my own dime, I went to 50 Best in London in 2021. Yeah. I went to Tails, BCB. I went to Asia's 50 Best, all on my own dime.
Okay.
And then in 2022, I think we made top 10 for Tails, and we started to get some invites, which was cool. That was amazing. That was like a pretty big game changer for us.
Yeah.
And brands started to give us a little bit more money.
Yeah. Before
then, it was like begging and pleading. And then, we kept doing the networking thing. So then, in 2022, instead of going on my own dime, we were able to get stuff paid for.
Yeah.
But what was really important is we just needed to be in all the hotbeds. We needed to meet the people, make the friends. Not just from a networking standpoint, but also from an inspiration standpoint. Like in 2021, Allegory was a great bar. I think we're an even better bar now because of all the traveling we've done, all the people we've been exposed to. There's so many smart people out there doing amazing things. And back then we were in our like bubble. And then through those networks, we started developing like really strong friendships. And so we started flying people into DC to go to Allegory. So we started doing guest shifts,
Yeah.
We were talking about, with Julia, this was one of our first guest shifts, Angel Share, employees only. Brought them all down to DC, had a great time. And so then we really started focusing on bringing in all these friendships that we cultivated and turning them into guest shifts and bringing them into DC.
Yeah.
At first, it kind of felt like, we're just spending money to hang out with our friends. This is amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the larger game is, there's this exposure for the bar.
Yeah.
Create hype for yourself. Yeah. Changes the perception people have in your bar.
Yeah.
And then like, we really made a big push on that. And then we also really changed our social media strategy. I brought my girlfriend on to do our social media.
Yeah.
She's a gangster.
Yeah.
So we actually had like great photography, videography, that type of thing. And then started like redid our menu. We redid our website. So all these things kind of building toward it. And then in 2023, we got on the 50 best list for the first time. And then we won best menu. Yep. Which kind of like took us into just a completely different stratosphere.
Yeah.
So then I had almost 2 years of networking, and all of a sudden, a lot of my friends that I met took us like way more seriously. Not that they didn't, we were friends, but it's a perception thing. Like, they're in DC, that's cute. And then all of a sudden, they're on the list and they won best menu.
Yeah.
So then the invites started really coming in.
Yeah.
And we said yes to everything.
Okay.
Said yes to literally everything. And granted, I was a very lucky position. I had an amazing team at Allegory with like Capri Robinson, Princess Johnson, Greg Long, Grayson Coley, these guys, Julio Zavala, they're amazing and they're all stars in their own right.
Yeah.
So if I was traveling, they were running the bar. If they were traveling, I was at home. I was doing the bulk of the traveling.
Yeah.
But, then, when we really hit the road, we kept it on brand. I think that was super important was when we went to places, we made sure that it was an Allegory pop-up. We weren't showing up to make 3 cocktails that were tasty.
Yeah.
We brought our menus. We had the local team, the host bar team design menus around our concept. We did a masterclass where we talked about, menu creation. And so all of it was on brand, and we were able to build a reputation for storytelling, menu creation, creativity, that type of thing. And we've stuck with it. We've stuck with the playbook, and we've developed an amazing reputation on the global bar scene, which is incredible.
Yeah, you've been traveling a lot. Like every time I feel like I see you. You say you have a very chill month, but I see you were traveling at one point a lot.
Yeah. No, it's. I mean, it's a dream come true for sure. I think last year was my worst travel year. I shouldn't say worst. Last year was my best travel year.
Okay.
I should be very grateful that I get to do what I do.
Yeah.
I think I flew like 150,000 miles last year.
Okay.
Which is still pales in comparison to guys like Ian McPherson. And, Jose Luis and some of those folks who just go nonstop.
Yeah.
But it was pretty brutal. And so this year we've slowed down a little bit. We're still doing a lot of traveling compared, I think, to a lot of people. But this month I'm only taking 2 flights. So
awesome.
yeah.
Cool. So we talked a little about your menu, kind of the branding. Again, I think you hit a good point of it's relationship based in this industry. And I think a lot of them, I keep hitting on this show, like it's all about relationships, right? Like we might be a big globe, but it's a very small industry.
It's tiny.
A very teeny tiny. I think people forget that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, so,
I mean, I love that we could be at a random bar in Slovakia and sit down at the bar and either talking to the bartender or talking to somebody randomly sitting next to you. There's a great chance if it's a good cocktail bar, within 5 minutes, you guys have mutual friends.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It flattens the world. It makes it so small. It feels, the community is incredible.
Yeah.
And if you really make yourself a part of the community, like the community gives back to you for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
But always be yourself though, right?
Always be yourself. Be sketchy.
Yep.
Don't do sketchy things.
Yep.
Then people won't like you.
Yeah.
So.
For sure. Yeah. Always be yourself. People can see, especially us as bartenders, right? We've seen pretty much.
Be authentic.
Be authentic.
Yeah. That's one thing I talk about all the time in my master classes when I talk about menu creation is, one of the big questions we get all the time is like, how do I get on 50 best?
Yeah.
Like, well, that's not the question you want to be asking. Yeah. Your question you want to be asking yourself is, how do I make a dope bar with a dope menu?
Yeah.
And if you approach it from a creative standpoint and from an authentic standpoint, then the recognition will come.
Yep.
Then all that stuff will come.
Yeah.
But if you're, like you're saying, if you're being contrived, we can sniff it out from a million miles away.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's trying to open something nowadays, especially in Houston. We're having a lot of people just opening just for the money grab. And you can tell real quick when you walk in that bar, like, oh, there's no heart.
Oh, they check all the boxes.
Yeah, they check all the boxes, and then you go in, it's like an empty shell. There's like no soul to this concept. No
personality. You could be from any city.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate that I as well. Like, I love when bars feel like they are where they are. Every once in a while, a New York style bar in Tokyo is dope.
Yeah.
But overall, sometimes you walk into a lot of these modern bars around the world, you feel like you're in London or you feel like you're in Hong Kong or whatever because they're checking all the trend boxes.
Yeah.
Like there's no story, there's no soul in the space.
Yeah.
Just making clarified cocktails.
Yeah. all the clarified cocktails too. Everywhere on the menus right now.
Everywhere, man.
Yeah. Well, I love clarified milk punches, but at a certain point, you can only have so many.
Yeah. 100%.
But yeah, I think you hit a good point of like community is really important, especially in concepting. And like if you start looking at top 50 best list, it's like you have allegories, which are like these nicer hotel bars.
Yeah.
Then you have like service bar, which is more this like neighborhood, more modern dive.
Yeah.
And then you have something like yacht club, where yacht club's like in the middle of a neighborhood, off the beaten path a little bit in DC and Denver. Love them. They're great people. I'm just like,
they're incredible.
It's all about the soul. The concept, right?
Oh, for sure. Like
unique and authentic.
Yeah, I mean, just to touch on like service bar and yacht club, like you walk into service bar and you feel at home. It's I call it a 5-star dive bar. Yeah. I mean, obviously they're really nice. They make really nice cocktails. They do very progressive things, but also their beer's cold, shots flow, the daiquiris are frothy. Same with like yacht club. You walk into yacht club and you want to talk about soul. Like they literally built the space with their hands. It feels super DIY.
Yep.
Like the concept feels so authentic.
Yep.
You look at Mary McLean, you spend 3 minutes with them. You're like, oh yeah, no, this is them.
Yeah.
Like it's so authentic. And like, it's so impossible to replicate that or like, contrive that.
Yeah. And don't force it.
Yeah. You can't force it. Yeah, exactly.
People see through it too quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So we've talked about the menu. Let's talk a little bit about the program. So how many cocktails? I haven't seen it yet, so we'll go in hopefully after this. But how many cocktails are on this current iteration of the menu?
So we did a 17 cocktails. So 12 alcoholic and 5 non-alcoholic.
Okay.
And we integrate them all into the menu. We don't separate them.
Yeah.
And the reason why we did 17 is because Joseph Campbell's Hero's Journey has 17 steps. It's a very common starting spot for young narrative writers to follow like a story wheel to help them write a meaningful, impactful story.
Yeah.
So when I wrote the new menu, I'm not a professional writer. I took some creative writing classes in college, but I needed that guide to help me create impactful moments, earned moments for the character arc, conflict. And so when we asked Katie to create the art, we knew we wanted 17 pieces of art. Yeah. And so then when I went to my team to create all the cocktails, I asked for 17 cocktails, all based on the chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you assign the cocktail? Did you like say, hey, you're going to do this and this and this? Or did you let them like kind of
sort of
the direction they were going to go?
Yeah, sort of. I'm a big fan of boxes. Okay. So I like having freedom, but within a box.
Yeah.
So I think constraints create really cool creativity. So what we did was we basically created a box for each chapter. And within that box, I would put parameters. So chapter 1, obviously light, refreshing, bubbly. Let's probably do vodka, but I give like a couple options for spirits.
Yeah.
You know, we have sponsors that we have to satiate as well. They give us a lot of money to help with the menu.
Yeah.
And so the team has a box to work within, but then within that box, they can do whatever they want.
Okay.
And so we literally just wrote each chapter number down on a piece of paper, threw it in a hat, and everyone drew as many cocktails out as they wanted to attack.
Okay.
And so some people drew 3, some people only drew 1.
Okay.
And then whatever was left over, I handled.
You handle the rest.
Yeah, I did the rest. Yeah.
How big is your bar team here?
So we have Capri, Princess, Greg, Julio, Grayson, Greg Lamont, Danny Sanchez, and Daniel Hewitt. So we have that 8.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So decent sized bar team.
Yeah.
You know, for a pretty small bar. But some of our guys, like Greg Lamont, he's our full-time prep guy. He bartends on Mondays. Danny Sanchez and Daniel Hewitt, they are kind of cross-training guys. So sometimes they'll bar back, sometimes they'll prep, sometimes they'll host.
Yeah.
And then Capri, Princess, Greg, and Julio and Grayson are all full-time bartenders. Yeah. Yeah.
So you have the 17 cocktails. You have a full-time prep person.
Yeah.
How often are you doing? So are you doing prep every single day for this menu? Like how does the prep?
Yeah, it's
work?
4 days a week.
It's 4 days a week.
Yeah, 4 days a week, and they're full shifts.
Okay.
So with this menu, we really wanted to approach cocktails. I really want to simplify our approach from the guest perspective, but really complicate our approach from a techniques perspective.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was really important for me that the cocktails were really approachable, that the menu read really clean, and it was a lot of fun for the guests to read, and then it was easy for them to pick a cocktail.
Yeah.
And then so we simplified our language a lot on how we approached presenting the cocktail, but then on the back end, we really ramped up our approach to techniques.
Okay.
So for this menu, I did a ton of personal research on utilizing 10 different enzymes that all manipulate sugars and starches and bitterness and proteins and fats, all manipulated differently.
Yeah.
That was a really fun project for me. So I'd say a good portion of our menu finds ways to manipulate ingredients using enzymes. I bought a freeze dryer, and that was a lot of fun. It's really great for reusing spent produce and turning it into. Right now we're currently using for a lot for our garnishes to create shelf stable garnishes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, our prep guy would be dead. He would have died with the workload. So we had to find creative ways to do this type of like high concept cocktails and high technique cocktails, but also make it like sustainable. So like, for example, almost all of our garnishes are shelf stable in one way or another. Okay. And so somebody can go and make like a huge batch of it. We're good for a month.
For a month. Yeah. It lasts for that long.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
And then, obviously we do some clarification, but we revamped our carbonation setup thanks to Mike Capaferri.
Oh yeah. He's the like best. A whole movement that's been happening.
I mean, once you try it, it's undeniable.
Yeah.
It's undeniable, man.
Yeah.
It's so frosty and bubbly. It's amazing.
Yeah.
That was, And so, this menu, we took a really big leap forward from a creative standpoint on our cocktails.
Yeah.
But the emphasis was always approachability and crushability.
Yeah. So approachability on the guest side, where it's literally just real quick making the cocktail. Yeah. But all the work is on the back end.
Yeah, exactly. Like we don't list all the weird shit that we do. Like I don't say like enzymatic mangoes or something like that. We just like give it a fun name like Epic Mango.
Yeah.
Or extra juicy pomelos. Okay. We do a lot of really sciencey stuff to it to get it extra juicy and delicious.
Yeah.
But we don't bog the guest down with that type of information. Now there's catchy little buzzwords that will pique interest if somebody's interested. But there's nothing more eye-rolly when people list things that they don't need to list.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, you distilled your spent coffee. I get it. Just write coffee.
Yeah.
But people want the credit for being smart, and for having a rotovap or, something like that.
Yeah.
I get it. I went through that phase as well.
Yeah.
But now I'm in the phase of let's give good hospitality to the guest. Yeah. Let's make it as easy as possible for them to order a drink.
For sure. I definitely went that phase too.
We all do it, man.
I'm writing this out. I'm like, well, now I'm just like, I want the guests to get the concept so we can get the drink out to them so they can enjoy it.
Yeah. I remember when I discovered salt solution.
Okay.
Like putting salt in a cocktail. Like what a novelty, right?
Yeah.
Chefs been doing it for centuries.
Yeah.
I remember I was like, oh, this is so cool. It makes things taste so like it's so round. I would list salt on the menu.
Yeah.
Like that's, come on. I'm in secondhand embarrassed looking back at some of my menus where I'm like the things that I listed. Like, oh man.
Yeah. I still have some of mine too, and I pull them out every so often when I'm cleaning. I'm just like, I did this.
Yeah. I really want people to know how smart I was.
I mean, everybody goes through it, like even like the younger bartenders too. I'm just like, oh, I remember when I was going through this.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
I think it's a part of the process. The process, man. Like
sure.
you don't get to a certain mindset overnight. You gotta go through it, you know?
Yeah.
Some people never leave certain sections of the process.
You know? They'll just kind of stay there.
Yeah, like the pretension section.
Oh yeah.
Some people live there.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people never leave.
It's just unfortunate, but I guess just one of those group of people are always just gonna be around.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, cool. So you have a pretty big production side of it. It sounds like you have an enzyme master class that you could work on at some point in the future. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I definitely want to start like fleshing out that even further and getting even a more like deeper, intimate understanding of the science. Because right now, I cursorily understand the science. Like I understand how enzymes work. I understand how blockchain like in blockchains and molecules work.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that I have like a deep, intimate understanding.
Yeah.
So once I think I get to the point where I can very scientifically explain what I'm doing, then I'll do a master class on it.
Yeah.
Because right now it's like, I know if I put this thing in the bag at this temperature, I know there's going to be a reaction. I know what the reaction is, but like it's pretty surface level, my understanding. So I'm digging deeper right now, getting further and further into it. Yeah.
We should do something.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I would love that, man. I could learn some stuff from you. Okay. Let's talk about this. This is amazing. All right, cool.
So let's still on the enzyme thing. So what is the most unique, what was the aha moment with the enzyme? What enzyme was like, this is like, oh shit, this is going to be cool.
Yeah, there were two of them, man. I mean, we'd all been using pectin. For the longest time I didn't even know pectin was an enzyme. I just knew it broke down solids and helped me clarify things. The aha moment was, I was talking to Dan Nevsky in Barcelona. He took me by Tao Foods. They were at a food science company in Barcelona. They do all the molecular stuff for a lot of the bars and restaurants there. They were working with enzymes, but Daniel Nevsky wasn't having a ton of success with some of their products. And I was like just super intrigued by it. So I bought some of the products, didn't have a ton of success, and then started doing more research on it. And then I found out that enzymes have a certain potency level. So like parts per,
strength
of the enzymes. So I think some of the enzymes I was maybe using were only like 5,000 units. And then I found through some distribution companies out of China that I could get enzymes up to 100,000 parts per unit. And that was the game changer because I remember trying like cellulase and invertase for the first time. And the richness of flavor and sweetness and body that I got out of the fruits that I was treating with that was incredible. Narraganase, when we made the extra juicy pomelo, when I was R&D in that, narraganase basically blocks the naringin in it's a bittering agent. And so the final product came out was like the super juicy floral product that had no bitterness to it. The naringanase had stripped all the bitterness out. It was so cool. Those were huge aha moments because one, it was creating more natural sugar and sweetness within the product. It was creating more body, which is desperately needed in cocktails in 2026. I think Ian McPherson just did a whole video and a whole new, the densing. He's right though. Like we need body in drinks. It like clarified cocktails are so thin. And so these enzymes that we were working with gave especially the invertase. The invertase gave, when you invert the sugar and you break the sugar molecule down, it gives you such a round body. It almost feels like a milk punch. Which was like, it blew my mind. And so from there, also, we use amylase alpha, beta, and glucoamylase. And I know that's a pretty well-tread territory in food science. Like everyone's very well aware how to break down starch. But then again, when I found out that enzyme had potency, finding amylase alpha, amylase beta, and glucoamylase with actual real potency changed the product that I was creating drastically. Changed
flip the switch completely.
The effectiveness was amazing, man. Yeah.
Awesome. Enzymes are great. And I think, there people have started dabbing into it, but I think we can get it further into it.
Oh, I think there's so many different kinds of enzymes. I know Mr. Lion.
Oh yeah,
he does stuff with enzymes on a completely different realm. He's I think on the most recent menu they have an enzyme that's from the stomach of a pig, and they use it to break down, I think, a protein.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that, but like that's wild.
Yeah, it's definitely wild.
Yeah, sure. I'm trying to get on that level on from a nerdy perspective. So I'm not quite there yet, but we're getting there. But yeah, no, it's an amazing category, and I've just, I think, scratched the surface. Okay. And I think I'm just going to keep pushing it as far as I can go, because it's accessible if you find a good distribution.
And a safe distribution.
Safe distribution. 100%. You got to make sure that they're certified. There's all sorts of different certifications that, especially the plants out of China, need to get.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it took me a long time to get proper distribution out of China. Yeah. Sure. But once I got it, then it was like really easy. I could buy it in bulk. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Cool. So we talked a little bit, and so going back to the cocktail creation, so you give them a little box. Do you give them a parameter as far as like pricing, or how much does it cost? Because that's like another good question. Like, okay, we're designing a menu. It's going to be dope. Okay, we're spending this much on the menu. Okay, how do we make the profit?
For sure. Cost is essential. Yeah, exactly. I pride myself on running Allegory as like a really healthy, profitable bar. Like, we're in a hotel, so we get a pretty good break, and we're owned by the hotel, so we get a pretty good break on rent.
Yeah.
And we don't really have that many cams.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we do run a really healthy profit every month.
Yeah.
And one of those ways is by working with brands, and then also making sure you're costing your cocktails properly.
Yeah.
And so our target is always 20%. You know, we're a fancy cocktail bar in a hotel.
Yeah.
So we don't want to be running like a 10, 12% liquor profit, but liquor cost, sorry. And, so it's really important that we cost all of our drinks to make sure it's financially efficient. Yeah. But sometimes we'll have a cocktail that will cost, have a 25% cost, but then we'll have a cocktail that maybe it's low ABV and it's using vodka. Yeah. And we're able to use a product that's really, low cost, and we can run like an 11% on that cocktail. Yeah. And so our goal is to balance the entire menu anywhere between that 18 to 20%. Yeah. And then I'm happy. If it's anything less, I'm over the moon. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah. So here in, so this is more curiosity question. Here in DC, what specific taxes do you have? Because I know in Texas, it's taxed 4 different times. So the customer pays 8.25, but the business pays 6.5% as well.
Yeah.
So it's like 14% tax on liquor. Is there something similar here in DC Metro?
I should know that exact number, but I don't. Yeah. Even though I do all the ordering. DC's kind of the Wild West when it comes to liquor. Okay. We have, I think, the least amount of regulations and taxes on alcohol in the entire country. Okay. It's pretty amazing. Yeah. And the few times that I've done like consulting gigs or in work in controlled states, and places with high taxes, I look at some of the prices, and I also look at the availability. I'm like, wow, we have it so good here. Yeah, it's amazing. I can get literally anything I want here. Yeah. And then they have to order something through like the state liquor.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Or ABCs or whatever.
Everything else that we have to do.
My God, that would kill me. Yeah. I mean, you figure out a way to work around.
Yeah. There's a way. It's wild. Yeah. State, city to city, state to state, all jurisdictions.
Yeah. But I think it's a very favorable market for operators. I think that's why you see so many bars and restaurants. Yeah. And DC has such an insane concentration of bars and restaurants. Yeah. So
there's definitely a lot of diversity in this city. Of course, it's DC. So.
Yeah.
Houston's kind of the same thing. We have a lot of hodgepodge of people as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, very diverse.
Yeah, very diverse. You got every kind of cultural food you can think of within this city.
Yeah,
for sure. Okay, cool. So let's talk a little bit about what's the future of Allegory looks like.
Oh yeah, man.
What do you got coming up this with the bar or yourself?
Yeah, we're well, one of the more exciting things that we're doing is in the very near future, we're going to be offering reservations for the first time. Okay. Which we're very excited about. We've been first come, first serve for 8 years. Yeah. It's amazing. We love being like very democratic with how people get into the bar. But, the industry right now, I think everyone's feeling a bit of a downturn, and we're not immune to it. Some, I think, new places that are hot are kind of immune to it, but, we've been open for 8 years. The shine has maybe started to wear off maybe so slightly. Yeah. And so, we're moving to a reservation system, which is going to be a big learning curve for all of us and for our guests. Okay. We're going to start out with a 30% reservations, but then keep everything else first come, first serve, so that everyone who tries to get in can still get in. Yeah. So that's going to be a big one for us. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We wanted to do with night shift. We tried to do reservations at first, but didn't quite work as well, because Houston's a different market. That's what I tell people. It's it's not quite the same like here. Yeah. But like Houston's always kind of been behind times when it comes to cocktails and cocktail culture. So people don't quite understand the reservation system.
Yeah, you're the second person from Houston to tell me that in 2 weeks.
So it's been kind of weird. We tried it. It was not working. We were actually turning people away. So like, okay, this is not going to work. It's first come, first serve. They're going to come up. We're going to do what we need to do.
Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah.
We were, I think, a bit of the outlier when we did first come, first serve in DC. DC's a big reservation city.
Yeah. I was going to say everywhere it seems like reservation.
Yeah. People love, I mean, it's, especially when we're at our peak economically, like the reservations, I mean, it's a bloodbath trying to get into some of the top bars and restaurants when, times are good.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
People fighting over that $5.15 bar seat when a restaurant opens up or whatever. Yeah.
It's a culture though, if you think about it.
Oh, for sure. Like DC is filled with a bunch of people with very high stress, important jobs. And a lot of people don't want to go anywhere unless they're guaranteed a table.
Yep.
I totally get it.
Yeah. And Houston's more laid back where people are just kind of commuting in and out and they want to go have a drink and then go.
Right. Yeah. I don't think we're as bad as New York. Actually, I don't know. Maybe we're as bad as New York when it comes to reservations. Probably not.
Probably not too bad. I think New York's a little bit more.
New York's cutthroat.
Like very cutthroat.
Oh,
yes.
man.
It's just it's the mentality in New York though. Like, New York, love y'all, but it's just like
New York's amazing. And I mean, there's a reason why all those like bars and restaurants are booked out, which is incredible. But like sometimes if you don't know somebody, getting a reservation on a spot is impossible. Impossible.
If you don't have the homie hookup.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I know we're getting ready to wrap up here, so I like asking this question. What is one piece of advice or quote you would give to someone who's just getting into industry or and who is a senior in the industry that needs to like keep going and start feeling a little demotivated right now with everything going on?
Oh, for sure, man.
Yeah.
I would say, from a creative standpoint, like really shoot the moon. I think if you have a wacky idea and you're creative and smart enough to execute it, like execute it, go for it. Like there's nothing too weird, like if you read Allegory's concept on paper, when people first heard about us, they're like, what?
Yeah.
What? You're what?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make any sense in the modern cocktail context. Yeah. Same with like our most recent menu. I think a lot of people, when I started telling them about it, they're like, they did not understand it.
Okay.
But it was far enough out there, but it made sense in my mind. And we eventually executed it and it turned out amazing. So even though your idea might be slightly off the reservation, like believe in yourself and go all in on it. And like one of the things I love about it is it gives me this creative outlet that cocktails, I love making cocktails, but there's only so many ways you can make a drink.
Right.
The creativity that I really relish is storytelling opportunities and these creations, like our menus and merch and that type of thing that I find like really, really, really fun. So, find these outlets and go all in. Yeah.
I definitely think a lot of people get like they don't feel confident in themselves and like they have this wild idea. Like try it.
Just
like,
go for it.
It is no. Like, it doesn't work, right? You just retweak it and do it again.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And you're gonna learn so much the first time. Our first menu coming out of the pandemic was not great. I'll fully admit it. It was I thought it was way cooler than it was. Looking back on it, I was like, it's very amateur.
Yeah.
But that gave me the foundation to do our next menu, which won an award. And then that gave me the foundation to do the next menu, which we were just very lucky to become the first bar ever to win the 50 best menu award twice.
Yeah.
So, just let your freak flag fly and go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
And I'd say another really important thing is like, we talked a little bit about like the travel and the brand building and all that stuff, which is really amazing. But the one thing that people don't talk about is just how brutal it is on the body.
Yeah.
Like you see the IG posts and you're partying with the homies and some exotic place at the bar that you've always dreamed about going to. And it looks great on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's brutal on the body, it's brutal on the mind, it's brutal on your relationships.
Yeah.
And so if you do get into a position where you're getting the chance to start to travel, and I'm sure you're very aware of this because you guys travel a ton.
Yeah.
Finding a system to keep yourself healthy.
Yep.
Like, oh man, I wish for the first 2 years I was traveling, I was working out every day.
Yeah.
And I wasn't.
Okay.
And I let my body start to deteriorate. My mind was deteriorating. And, now I feel like I'm a lot more balanced because after last year, I kind of like had to make some very wholesale changes so that I could sustain this long term because it's my career,
Yeah.
If I kept at the same pace that I was going to burn out.
Yeah.
And I'd wash out the industry. I'd be just a drunk.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think if you're getting started, I can't stress how important it is to like find balance when you're hitting the road.
Yeah.
Because it's going to feel amazing. It's going to feel like a party.
Yeah.
You won't want to work out. You won't want to eat healthy because you're going to all these amazing restaurants and all these amazing bars, but find ways to at least find balance.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you are out drinking, don't act a fool.
And don't act a fool, and don't be sketchy.
Yeah, don't be sketch.
Don't be sketchy.
Keyword, don't be sketch. So
Yeah.
that's the thing for this
Exactly.
episode.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, cool. Well, thank you, Deke, for coming on
Dude,
today.
amazing to be here, man.
Yeah. Where can people follow you if they have any questions or anything from this show?
Yeah,
Instagram.
Yeah, you can
Facebook.
find me on Instagram. It's at DEKE_DU. I'm sorry, _DC. So DEKE_DC. That's my Instagram.
Mhm.
Hit me up there. I try to be good about checking my DMs and answering DMs. And then you can also follow Allegory at Allegory_DC. Me and my girlfriend run that Instagram account too. So if you have any questions, you can post it there. Yeah, or my email's on the website.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, anything else you want to bring
Dude,
to know? Cool.
rock on, man.
Awesome. Cool. Well, again, thank you for being on today. I appreciate you for making the time real quick. I know it was a very 48-hour notice for us.
Dude, I love it, man.
So,
man.
And I got to do a special shout out to Bartender Magazine as well. So Foley.
Foley.
As well. We love you. You definitely be sure and check out the new issue that's coming out soon. It's going to be fun.
Hell yeah.
Fun one. So, all right, yo. Well, thanks for joining us for this week's episode of Cocktail Classified. We will see you next time. Thank you again.